Hello, welcome to Futbol the Europa podcast. And today, alongside me is Carlos. Welcome, Carlos.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. And today's podcast will be a short one. And today we will talk about all of the talk regarding Messi, his contract situation, his relationship with Barca, and if he is to leave, then what will be the aftermath of the decision. So, starting with Messi, like everybody is already aware that he wishes to leave, and he has sent in a fax to the Barca board that he wishes to trigger the clause number 24, which refers that he can leave at the end of the season for free. But the difference of opinion is that the club believes he cannot leave for free because the contract clause expired on 10th of June. But Messi believes that the season was extended to a certain date, and so does his contract. So yeah, recently, Pepe has been seen in Barcelona, so that triggers the rumors that he is in talks with Messi and he will be leaving with Messi for Man City. And also, if Messi is to miss training today, he will be facing a fine of 25% from his salary. And all of that talk is really not helping the case of convincing Messi to stay. So it's a pretty messy situation right now. And would you want to weigh into that, Carlos?
Yes. So I think you need to let's start off with the premise. The fact that who has legal leverage over here. So that's the first thing that needs to be thought of. Whether what the 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 information that Messi and his side is saying that that he has up to the end of this month, that is August 31st, to express his desire to terminate his contract and go for free, whether it's valid as of August 31st, or what the board says that this expired on June 10th. That will determine what your actual leverage is in terms of legality. So that's one point, that will factor a lot on how this happens. The other side is, you know, what is the board stand? Do they want Messi to go in either situation, for free, for the release clause, or something in between? So the last reports that I've read is that even though Messi has sent out the fact that he wants to terminate his contract and go for free, his intention is to go out through the front door, and he's happy also if the board or Barcelona are able to agree to a transfer free with somebody else. That's what I understood. That's what I heard was last that happened, where he requested to have an audience with the board, but the board has not responded to his request at all. So they expect him to come back, I believe, today, Sunday, for the COVID-19 test, and then from Monday onwards he goes into training. Since he has not heard back anything, it seems like he's not going to be coming for training, and that's the situation. So it looks like the board is clearly like, the only thing we're going to discuss with you is a renewal or nothing else. So you either stay here for the next 1 year, that is, you'll be forced to stay for the next 1 year, or else somebody can pay the release clause and take you away. That seems to be the board stand right now. In future, I think it is possible, if Messi is very insistent on not staying, that they may consider a deal with another club. I genuinely feel that in this particular situation, in the market that we are in today, I don't think it will be possible for anybody will pay money for Messi. Like, Messi is likely to cost between 100 to 120 odd million, I would say, euros. So I still don't see anybody paying that sort of money in today's market, for financial fair play reasons, and just with the COVID-19 situation. So I think for this to really work, if the board is ready to let him go, I don't think they let him go for free. So it will be some sort of a swap deal. I think that's only what's likely, and where the Barca board will try to have a positive net difference between the two players swapped. Still want to show that the net transfer has a plus 20 million or something like that. And then, with amortization and everything else, it will help them to balance the books, and they'll get players. And for the club that buys Messi, they will also use the swap to and the amortization on the sales or the amount of money that you pay for acquiring the transfer. You'll amortize it to show it better in the books, and in that way you can acquire Messi. But upfront, I don't think so anybody is going to pay any sort of money to Messi. to acquire Messi. And I think that's the situation that I think is likely to happen if Messi really wants to leave. Obviously, the other situation is, if the board elections are called up front and the current board loses, their holding in the club, then maybe Messi can be persuaded to stay.
Yeah, and also the other thing which is to note here is that no club wishes to get into legal battles with Barcelona later on. They don't want to go to the court and deal it out over there because they really want to be clear on what the stand of Barcelona is, what the stand of Messi is, and how they can really get into a very neat spot where they can get Messi and don't have any repercussions of that in the terms of legal matters. So that is also one part to look at it because there are differing opinions, and because of the COVID-19 situation, as has been already explained, that it is not even clear that the clause has expired or will it continue. So to find that middle ground and to have an agreement between all three parties, between Messi's lawyers, and the Barcelona board and the destination club, it has to work in coherence. So that is why many of the clubs would not be willing to get their hands into this kind of a deal. But if it's Messi, and if you are a club like Manchester City who can likely afford Messi financially, and you have like the willingness of Messi to be at that kind of club with that kind of a coach, so maybe you are willing to take that sort of risk, I would say. So uh, let's imagine for a moment that Messi leaves the club. So what do you think will be the aftermath of it? Like, what would be the post-Messi era, and how will Barcelona reform? Like, Griezmann would naturally be playing in his natural position, which is a striker, and it could be two striker system with Suarez. But I don't see Suarez staying. He has already been said to leave because uh, Koeman has expressed that Suarez is not in his plans. So if Messi leaves, I think PK is also likely to leave then, and Suarez is also likely to leave. So it is a complete overhaul. It's a new system, and Koeman is already a pupil of grief. And so, how do you see that situation playing out if Messi leaves?
Um, One, it depends on, like I said, I still expect only some sort of a swap deal, something like that to happen. So it depends on who the deal happens with. So, like you said, I don't think Suarez is likely to stay if Messi leaves. As it is, Suarez is not part of Koeman's plans. Uh, I don't know. I don't think PK was in the list that he mentioned, but I believe Rakitic and all was there. So, like you said, in terms of okay, first of all, if Messi goes, I don't think so. They will look for I don't think so. They really need a replacement in the sense that they have both Griezmann and Coutinho who can play the 10 role. I mean, not that you will get the same output as Messi, but I don't think so. You need to look for a player to replace in terms of positional. You already have Griezmann, which who is rated by Keeman. So it's only about having who you want to have up front. So let's say, imagine if it were to happen with Man City. I think the players that are mentioned as part of the possible swap is Jesus and Bernardo Silva. This is assuming that they both also want to come to Barcelona. I think that is not too bad a deal. I can see like something like a 4-2-3-1 with Silva on the right, Griezmann in the hole, uh, somebody on the right hand side, maybe Coutinho if he's getting to stay, and say Jesus up front. That's an option. If the deal is going to happen with Inter Milan, I think it will be a straight Lautaro Martinez and Messi swap, where Lautaro Martinez will pay up front. That's a possibility. With PSG, I'm not really sure what they're going to get out of it in return, and I don't think so that PSG will be able to afford the salary of three huge players. They have already Mbappe and Neymar. On top of that, I don't think so they'll be able to add Messi into this, and they have very little to give to Barcelona unless they're going to swap Neymar for Messi or something like that. So I don't think that works out. So for me, it really depends on who the deal is going to happen with. The other thing is obviously, because you can only do a kind of a swap deal. I don't think so you'll get money for Messi. Uh, it's and because they have such an aging squad, they'll find it very difficult to build the squad. So I think they'll go through a lull season, something like we had, when Cristiano Ronaldo left, which is mainly because we couldn't get our targets that we wanted all properly. We didn't get Hazard at that point of time, and I don't think so. We bought any particular striker also at that point of time, and we struggled. So yeah, I think they'll go through that period, and it'll take some time for them to, slowly but surely have to start replacing their players. I don't think it'll happen in one transfer window. It probably won't happen in two or three. So they'll have to. I think Kieman is a good manager to for them to try and use their La Masia squad. Also, it'll be good to see players like say Ansu Fati or Ricky Puig play a lot for the time being, and depend a little bit on La Masia, and then try to attract players later. So I think that's how it's going to play in terms of or for Barca.
Yep. Also, it as you already mentioned that it is a similar situation to when Cristiano Ronaldo left Real Madrid. So one could also say or draw comparisons between Koeman's job right now and job of Lopetegui and Solari in Real Madrid, because it was kind of the same situation. The star player had left, but you could say that Real Madrid still had their core over there. Sergio Ramos was there. Keylor Navas was there for a season at least, and Marcelo was there. Casemiro, Modric, and like that core was there. But in Barca, you currently get the feeling that if Messi leaves, it is likely that all of the elder players would probably leave. Vidal has been rumored to Juventus already. Gerard Piqué expressed earlier that he would be willing to leave if that's what the club needs. And Suarez has already been ruled out by Koeman, and Messi is on his way out. So it is a subtle tell that maybe it is a complete overhaul. So I don't know if it's financially possible for Barcelona to let go of all these players and buy new players in one window. And considering how hectic it has been already. So will they have that kind of time and that kind of the stability that you need to scout players already? So that will be an interesting space to watch. But I would uh, go on to the another question. That is it possible to bring balance of power and structure and hierarchy in Barca if Messi leaves? Like, is this reformation which Barcelona have already been looking forward to? They they already always had this narrative that players have too much of power, and there is no set system now because you could see that in contract renewals, the players were like too dominant to get their way. The tactical discipline at Valverde was a bit disturbed. The players would the players had set in their own ways of comfort and would do as they please. And then you saw the complete defiance of City. And so, is it only possible for Barca to reform in a way which grief had defined that hunger and that desire and that order of structure? Is it only possible if Messi leaves?
I think it's a start, but it's like there are two sides to this. Now, if you look at it, one of the reasons why they're, the core players, you had so maybe you could assume that they had so much power is because the board of the last, I think, at least 5 odd years have miserably failed in terms of transfers. No, I don't think so. In the last 5 years, they have had any transfer who you can say is a definite success. The last transfer who you can say is a great success is Suarez. Apart from him, there's nobody else. So that is also a factor. You unless you have a board that is able to is doing the right things. If they're not doing the right things, then they'll feel pressure back from the players who are bearing the expectation of the fans. So that power struggle, that power dynamic fails. the board is no has is seemed less valuable because they are not doing their part, and the star players have to overperform to compensate for the failures of the board. So I think it's only a start. It has to happen from two ways. Obviously, if nothing changes in this term, when the elections happen in March, whoever is a new board will have to uh, make better decisions overall, and it'll take some time. It won't happen immediately. It'll take some time. And just to bring the earlier point that you mentioned, I'm not 100% sure that Keeman's situation is the same as Lopetegui and Solari, because I think the whoever came immediately after Zidane would have a big challenge, because he's trying to fill impossible shoes. No, he's trying to fill a person who created history by winning 3 Champions Leagues, and with the core. Well, we did have a core. It aged. So that, and your star player also left. So it's not. I don't think it's exactly the same. So I feel that the Barca board will be, or the Barca fans will be more willing to accept the time that is required for Keeman to adapt himself, especially if Messi goes. Similarly, I would say there's a similarity to Valverde. When Valverde first came in, because Neymar left, they gave him a lot of time, and they didn't have too much issues with the fact that he was playing not the Barca-esque football, as long because he was winning, and because Neymar left. So they gave him a little bit of I guess a little bit of leeway because of that. So I think Keeman will get even more leeway because he's a ex-player. He's likely to play the Cruyff style. He's had decent success in Netherlands, and all that will play well for him compared to, say, Lopetegui, for whom this is very difficult. The So that's I think that difference will benefit him. And it, like I said, it will take some time for them, both from a financial sense because of COVID-19, and otherwise also, to replenish the squad. They were huge squad of a lot of older players, and on top of that, they added another older player in Pjanic, and they lost a young player in Arthur. So it's going to take a long time for them to replenish the squad. They'll have to depend a lot on La Masia, and considering all that, I think this is a good time for Keeman in a way. Like he can make the most. Keeman is the manager who can probably make the most out of the situation, time being. Um, of course, unfortunately for him, he's not the preferred candidate. If Victor Font becomes uh, the if Victor Font is elected as a president in the elections, I don't know about Laporta, who his managerial candidates are. But if Keeman is able to run till the next board comes into place and he does well, I think if anybody else apart from Font becomes president, they may choose to continue him if he does well, and if he has shown some sort of stability.
Yeah. Uh, so yeah, coming back to that point of Koeman, and I would also say that Lopetegui was trying to reform the style of play. It was more possession-based football, like tiki-taka and all that stuff. But Real Madrid were like for the past at least 20 years have been a counter-attacking team who play a very vertical style of play, and Lopetegui is more into building from the back, playing hexagonal passes, and advancing in a certain way. So I think that's also a big part because Real Madrid is not suited to play that way. They haven't really played that way ever. And for Barca, it has always been about horizontal passes, build up, and that triangular passes and everything else. So pretty much the Grecian philosophy of total football. So Koeman is expected to bring back that style of play. So maybe that is one of the differences which will be observed in the next season. So uh, if Messi is to leave Barcelona, it will also have an impact on Real Madrid, I guess, because Real Madrid initiated their post-Ronaldo redevelopment plan, and they have been, some would say, successful, and some would say that it is still a work in progress. And they already have a advantage compared to Barcelona, who are yet to start the redevelopment, and they are still figuring out if Messi will stay or not stay. And it is, as I mentioned in my previous question, it is still a question mark if the revolution can only be started if Messi stays or if Messi leaves. So there are a lot of factors which weigh into that. So coming back to my question again, uh, what kind of an impact will it have on Real Madrid if Messi leaves Barcelona in terms of their uh, the both clubs seek domination for the next decade, and Real Madrid already have a younger squad which has been experienced. There is a right mix of veterans and youngsters, and they already won the LaLiga. Zidane has come back, though there is still not a tactical identity and a setup which can outlast Zidane's term and bring that kind of stability to the club. But they seem to be ahead than Barca currently. So if Messi is to leave Barcelona and Barcelona are to gain that kind of a momentum to get their new signings, get their new coach, and redefine their previous style of play, so and get into that groove. So would Real Madrid be willing that Barca get into that groove and save 100 million on Messi's yearly wages and all that kind of stuff, or what kind of an impact do you think it will have on the other club?
I think for the players and the coaching staff, at least I would expect a lot of them would maybe prefer to have Messi there. I think having Messi there is a challenge in itself. And it gives a sense of competition, a better sense of competition, I feel. But obviously, even if Messi goes, they will want to win the league. But I think with Messi, it's a bigger challenge and a bigger set of motivation for them, I believe. But if you assume that Messi leaves, I think how it impacts Real Madrid. Obviously, it's very. I feel that Real Madrid was always better placed for Ronaldo leaving. Even before he left, I felt they tried to not just Ronaldo leaving as such. I felt Perez was very well placed to see the change that was happening in terms of the financial clout of EPL and other clubs, and to understand that he would not be able to economically compete with the TV deals that EPL clubs and other and all these state-backed clubs are getting. So I think he knew that way before, and he structured his transfer policy accordingly, and it's starting to show some sort of fruits right now. Whether it's fully functional or not, you'll know only in a couple of years. But I think at least he had a plan which he's been executing according to the plan well, and now we need to wait and see if it bears fruits. Comparatively, I would say obviously Barcelona had never had any sort of plan in terms of dealing with the financial clout of other clubs. In fact, they were stung by the fact that because they had no idea how to deal with it, they lost Neymar. Uh, and they obviously also did not have any sort of planning for a post Messi era. So I think, uh, especially since Zidane is at helm, and he's the kind of manager who understands that a league is a better barometer of how a team is playing, and he gives a lot of importance to league. I think Real Madrid will try to continue to dominate the league, and try to because the league is the one competition that we have. Heavily been underplayed by Barcelona over the last decade. So I think they'll try to establish some sort of uh, continuity and stability in challenging for the leagues and winning leagues, and then use that to step up and win the Champions League, and also slowly uh, replace or phase out their core older core players like Modric, Ramos, etc., and get the next generation ready. So I think they'll try to use this period to gain confidence to the young players by winning leagues in the absence of Messi if he leaves, and at the same time get their players rotated with the new players coming in so that they are ready to face the challenge of multiple competitions and the demand of the Real Madrid fans in future.
Yeah, that is good. Right. And I also think that I would come back to my point and a bit. I think I haven't elaborated it that much, so I will just weigh in on that. I think if Messi stays in Barcelona, that will slow down the revolution process because, okay, they might get a new board in a matter of time. Maybe it is in March of next year, or maybe it is preponed and it happens by the next month. But it will still have that the heavyweight. Like Messi is, of course, is a quality player, and of course, he will help them on the field and everything else. But just looking at the things from a broader perspective and from a redevelopment kind of point of view, so I don't think it will kick back Barca in that mode of okay, now we have to clean the slate and set things right now. They will still look on to Messi. Okay, we will build the team around him. We still have to take out 120 million euros per season to pay his wages and his bonuses and what else. So the plays will be most likely if Messi says that I need a certain player around me, and it will continue to happen. Griezmann will probably sacrifice his natural position and play on the wings, and which is not proven to be very efficient. And I think it will slow down that zeal in Barcelona that we have to just wipe the slate clean and do everything right now to turn things around. I think they will take a cushion and they will look at things more in a relaxed way, and that would buy Real Madrid more time to set their uh, to cement their position as a dominant side in La Liga. So I think in that matter, Real Madrid would prefer if Messi stays, of course, and it will be a challenge, as you said, that if Messi is there, it is a motivation, and La Liga will do better. There will be viewership and everything else. It is better for the league if if Messi stays, but even from a different point of view, like if Messi stays, it might not be the best thing for Barcelona if Messi stays. It kind of sounds absurd that you you say Barca will be better without Messi, but in the long term, it might be so. It it might be beneficial if they start getting ready for the post Messi era as soon as possible. But if it won't be possible if Messi stays there, so that's my point.
Yeah, I
And
agree. I mean,
yeah, yeah,
if
yeah.
Messi,
Go ahead.
I agree. If Messi stays, then the board will have to, proactively make sure that they have a plan for a post Messi era, which till now has not happened. But if he goes, they have no choice. So yeah, I agree on that aspect.
Yeah. So yeah, finally, I think if Messi leaves, it will have a huge impact on La Liga's viewership and the money they make and everything else, unless and until a significant number of players are signed by La Liga clubs, which I don't see happening at the moment. So you have already seen players like Ferran Torres leave, Rodrigo leave, like Valencia have been selling players like anything now. I don't know what is going on the other neck of the woods, but now with Messi's situation, and you also heard deals about other players who are potentially the future of La Liga, like Ceballos was willing to sign a deal with Arsenal a few days ago, but now he's rumored to either Real Madrid or to Real Betis. So let's see how that plays out. So, do you think that La Liga is losing its power and its own charm, you would say, by losing all these players? And why is it so?
I don't think players like Ferran Torres would make that much of a difference, or Rodrigo, I would say. But yes, I think losing Messi is a huge loss of revenue for La Liga. They've already don't get a high revenue in terms of TV dealerships compared to say EPL.
Mm.
So from that point of view, I think it'll affect them. I think players sales eventually happen because the pot of money, the TV revenue is not equally distributed among all clubs. Real
Mm.
Madrid and Barcelona receive the bigger share. Because of that, these clubs are forced to sell players eventually for sustenance. Um, and that's why I think because of that, I've noticed that a lot of the clubs in Spain and France especially, I've noticed these clubs, they generally have a very good youth system where they're able to generate players from the academy, play well enough to be part of the league, and
Even
achieve it in the league and then sell on. So I think that process is done really really well. Monchi is probably one of the best executives in the last 20-25 years. What he's done with Sevilla is magical. So I think that philosophy will only work for the Spanish teams right now. and I think that's what they should focus on, and that's the only thing that they can do to maintain their position and their uniqueness among other leagues.
Yeah, but I think it will be better if they have like some future prospects and future players. Like we already have likes of Kubo, Odegaard, and those Ricky Puig and Frankie De Jong, and like those kind of players. You really wish to hold on. Like they won't have any impact right now, but in future, say 5 years, 10 years, they would be at the level of Kevin De Bruyne or Gabriel Jesus or maybe Sergio Aguero kind of players. So they won't reach the level of Messi or Ronaldo, I guess, but they would still have some kind of their own identity and own prestige. So if a bunch of those players are playing in a certain league, it will definitely help that league. So it kind of concerns me that these players are leaving La Liga and choosing to play for uh, newly promoted EPL clubs like Leeds United, or because not everyone is going to play for Manchester City and Liverpool, but uh, it is exciting for those players. But maybe they will come back in the future, and let's see how it goes. So
But
I
I think
think,
if Messi
yeah,
leaves, the lull will only last for, hopefully, I hope it will only last for a year or two,
yeah.
with Mbappe coming to Real Madrid, hopefully.
Hopefully.
So
And I think we also forget that Bale and Hazard are still in Real Madrid, though they haven't been performing quite well in the past season due to injuries and due to other off the pitch situations. But they are still the kind of superstars. And if they move to EPL, the hype is more over there. The English media knows how to, keep those headlines going and keep the players in conversation. So for La Liga, I guess if Hazard starts performing and if Bale is likely to leave, but you still have him in the squad right now. So yeah, I think we kind of oversee that. And Griezmann is also one of the world's leading players, and we also have Joao Felix, who was a phenomenon in the season before, and his stock kind of died down since he joined Atletico, but I think he still has that kind of potential, and maybe we in La Liga we don't hype the players that much as they would be hyped in EPL. So I think that is also one of the factors we kind of oversee things. Uh, would you like to add anything before we end the podcast? Because I think we have covered all the points wrong.
no, I think it's going to be a very fluid situation with Messi. I think, if I'm right, the transfer window closed on October 10th, and it would be a sad end to to their relationship and their legacy. And with all reports pointing out to Messi going to not come for training, I think it can get very ugly very soon. Um, yeah, so it's going to there's going to be a lot more happening over the next couple of weeks, and then we'll have more clarity. So
Yeah,
it'll be fun times. It's not fun times to be a Barcelona fan.
yeah. It's a bit sad that the situation hasn't been handled in a smooth way, and especially because of the 8-2 defeat, and that really steamrolled things into chaos. So it would have been better
I
if
like
there
the
was less of noise. So yeah,
I like the meme that you sent, no, the Domino's one where Bayern Munich lost 500 to Frankfurt, and you
yeah.
used to Messi leaving Barca.
Messi
That's just
leaving
fantastic.
Barcelona. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's funny how things play out. Like you don't notice the difference, but if you see in retrospective, so many small factors and so many things contribute to it. So it's an interesting thing to observe. Well, I think we have discussed everything. So we will get back and record again in a week's time, and maybe Sean will be with us, and we'll talk about more developments happening around. So I think we should just call it a day now, if it's okay with you.
Yep. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you so much for listening, guys, and hopefully you enjoyed this podcast. And please do send us your questions. We used to do that kind of stuff before, but for the past few episodes, we don't have any questions to discuss from the fans. So it is always nice to have your input as well. So keep listening to Football Europa podcast and enjoy your transfer rumors. Thank you, Carlos. See ya.
See ya. Thank you.